Dr. Kiran is a doctor since 24 years, and he's the main doctor in Arya Ayurvedic Center in Kovalam. So I have some questions for you. And I would like to ask if you could explain us something about Ayurveda.
So it's actually very difficult to explain about Ayurveda in a short time, but it's all about health, basically, how people can live healthy, how their body can be made better, and how their mind can be improved. Mm-hmm. So that's the essence of Ayurveda. So that's what we do here. We treat people, we do physical treatments, and we also advise them how they can cope with the day-to-day life. If they have diseases, we treat them. That's what we do.
Basically, Ayurveda is about bringing everything back into the balance.
All right.
The body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Definitely.
And for example, what kind of treatments can offer Ayurveda, or what kind of treatments you are offering here in this center?
What we here do is basically body cleanings, what we call detoxification of the body. It means like it takes about a period of like 14 days to 21 days, or a bit longer, maybe 24, depending upon the intensity of the disease or intensity of the imbalance what people basically have. So this is not something like this detoxification program, like treatments are not something that is very strange actually, because this is what they have been doing in Europe for a long time. Maybe in the last 40 years they have not been doing it so much, but if you ask older people in Europe, they will definitely tell that they have been doing taking resinous oil and cleaning the body every spring actually. They have been doing holding oil in the mouth, or taking or making purifications, like inducing a diarrhea. So this is what we do actually. We clean the body. We have a set of very specific ways of doing those things. So we try to see that the body is prepared well before we do the cleaning processes. So that is what we do. We will go into these things I'll divide the question into 3 parts actually. The first part is physical treatments. We do massages. Massages are not like what you have in Europe basically. The aim of the massage is also something different. For that we have to understand what a detoxification process is. Toxins, what are toxins? Toxins are what the body has, basically what the body doesn't need and what the body accumulates and is not able to throw out by its natural process. Like how does the body accumulate toxins? Like the food you eat should be digested properly, converted into energy, and a part of it is stored, and what the body doesn't need is thrown out. It is thrown out by by having a stool motion, or you will urinate, or you will sweat. So these are the 3 ways how body detoxifies. Basically sweating, urination, and by stool, proper stool. So if you live in a cold country especially, we see that the body detoxification doesn't work properly. So it means body is not able to throw out what it wants, because you live in a cold country. Maybe you do not sweat enough, maybe you do not drink enough because you do not feel the thirst, or maybe because you eat a lot of animal protein, because you need to have a good amount of energy in your body. Many people have constipation, difficulty to pass their stool. So body accumulates toxins. That's what we see. So if the body is not able to throw out these toxins, or what the body doesn't need over a period of time, it is not good for the body to have it, and these are called toxins. So what we initially do is, like when a patient comes, we have to see that the toxins start to move in the body. So for that we increase the blood circulation, we increase the lymph circulation. For that we do massages. So there are different kinds of massages or body heating treatments, what we say. Usually they are like applying oil on the body, which is called abhyanga, oil, and heating the body up with different herbal pouches, which we call kiris. or oil baths, or applying a lot of oil so that the body sweats, or warm oil so that the body sweats, which is called pidicil. Or there are other processes or to make the body sweat, basically Svedana therapy is there. So these massages are different techniques so that the body heats up and toxins starts to move in the body. So that is the first thing of the physical treatment what we do. After the body is prepared, we clean the body or detoxify the body. What these toxins, what have started to move in the body, have to be thrown out of the body. So for this, different techniques are used, like introducing a herb that will cause a purgation, or that will cause a diarrhea in the body, or trying to throw it out by emetics, by trying to do enemas in the body, or trying to do nasal cleanings. So there are different techniques basically to do the body cleaning. So it involves two different stages. One is a physical part where we do massages, try to make the toxins move. Second part is where we clean the body basically by introducing some kind of medication into the body. So the third part, what I think also is the very important part, is to try to correct people's like the patient's breathing or prana basically. So when a person is under stress, or when a person is sad, depressed or melancholic, they breathe differently, their body language shows it, they act differently, they walk differently. That is what we all know, right? So it's very important to correct the breathing of the body. So what I try to do is, like, I subtly teach them breathing processes where they can correct their breathings, because for Ayurveda, Vata is the most important of all the doshas. Vata means how you breathe basically.
So, doctor, you are saying something about Vata, but maybe not everybody will understand what does it mean. So there are like 3 different types of doshas, and maybe you could explain us something about that.
If you have any idea of or have been with the Ayurveda, or have been in contact with Ayurveda, you would have definitely heard 3 words: Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Okay, the word Vata means people who think a lot, who move a lot, they are always active. These people are called Vata people. So Vata in the sense means air, always moving all the time, right? And the second dosha what comes into play is Pitta, or what is called fire. People who can be very dominative, very sure, very clear-minded. Could be your boss basically, or very, very objective in that sense. The third is Kapha. Kapha people are people who are very stable, very quiet. They can be very stable in relationships. They can tend to be slow and sluggish in their movements. So, these are like different personalities basically. These personalities will also reflect on the body. Like Vata people will be like, because they are moving a lot or thinking a lot, could be more lighter in sense. Kapha people could be more heavier in sense. But these are only words so that I can explain people what they are. I am not looking at these Vata, Pitta or Kapha in every person whom I am checking the body or whom I am making the diagnosis of. It's just to explain you what kind of nature or what personality you have. Ayurveda, you can think, if you think in the diagnostic way, you can think it is a qualitative analysis of a person. If you make a blood check, with the blood values, it is like a quantitative analysis. You can quantify the thing. In Ayurveda, we do not quantify things, we qualitatively analyze. We see how different a person is from another person. So to explain that, we say you are Vata, you are Pitta, or you are Kapha. To make this qualitative analysis, we base ourselves on 24 gunas or 24 characters of a person. Like if the skin is oily, skin is dry, if the body is cold, if the body is hot. So these qualities we use to differentiate a person. Mm-hmm. So we try to see what qualities that person has, if those qualities have changed over years. So that is what we call an imbalance. So balance is your nature, what you basically have depending upon your qualities, what you are born with, inborn things. Mm-hmm. And second thing is imbalance, what we say. Like if those things have changed over a period of time. If a person, like let's say, is a person who is very active, who is very creative. He had to do a stagnant job, a sitting job all the time. Maybe he would also not feel good with it, but he has to do that. So he will put on weight most probably. So we say, oh, that person by nature is a Vata person, and that person has changed into a Kapha person. So we are not looking at this Vata, Pitta or Kapha, but we are just telling or using those words so that people can relate. You can also say, look, you have been stagnant, you have put on weight. Of course, he knows that. But that is what I am looking into. I am looking into like heaviness, lightness of the body, if the body is dry. So these characters are what I am looking at basically. So Vata, Pitta, Kapha are like words. In that sense, how I can relate, how I can explain an individual. But nobody belongs to these groups. There is not a Vata group of people, there is not a Pitta group, there is not a Kapha group. So people are different from one another depending upon their body types. What I want to put into emphasis is nobody belongs to a single group. Nobody is, because everybody is different. So if there are a million people around us, all these people are different. So these differences is what we are looking at. We are not looking at commonalities. So what we tend to do in Ayurveda a lot is we say, oh, this is Vata. This is Vata food, food that increases Vata. This is Pitta food, the food that increases Pitta, and so on. So those commonalities are actually, they are hurting the concept of Ayurveda, because Ayurveda focuses on differences rather than commonalities. Everybody has his own nature, his own type, his own character, what we call as PRAKRTI. So, and people, if you have a PRAKRTI, you always tend to do things what is according to your nature. So sometimes people overdo things, so they have an imbalance. That is what I call a natural imbalance. Vata people who are moving a lot, thinking a lot, they do the same, they go on doing it more and more, so they have a natural imbalance. So that is a Vata imbalance. So we try to correct the Vata. So we use techniques like what causes the Vata imbalance, and we try to correct it. Now, as far as Europe, like your question was like how what I see mostly in people, right? So what mostly 99% of people are Europeans whom we treat here. What we see in European people is because they live in a cold country in the northern hemisphere, it's cold rather. So body becomes dry faster. Body is sensitive to cold. They live in a fast atmosphere. They have to do a lot of things together. So this is cold increases Vata, fast atmosphere increases Vata. As age increases, everybody thinks a lot, tries to do different things more, or is more confused, more questions rather than answers. So that is also a Vata increase. So we see when you live, the place you live, the activities you do, and the age. These three things increase Vata a lot. So we see a lot of people who have Vata imbalance rather than Pitta or Kapha imbalances. So stress, Vata increases means increase of stress. So this is what we see. Also we see a lot of diseases that is related to cold climates, like arthrosis, arthritis, autoimmune diseases we treat a lot, we see a lot also. We treat very good, what we treat very good is also system diseases are related to the nervous system. Digestive system, imbalances of the digestive system we treat very good actually. So you can think of chronic diseases, that's what our specialty is. Diseases what have been in your body for a longer time, we treat very good actually.
When people come here to this center, you say you are the part of the process is to release all kind of toxins. From where we get all these kind of toxins in our body? Where it come from?
As we were talking earlier, toxins are like things that the body doesn't need, which the body is not able to throw out. So toxins is not like poison. It's like what the body doesn't need. If the body doesn't need something and it still has it, it is something the body has to throw out. Unfortunately, we don't have time to eat our food correctly. We don't have the food what we want to eat. We don't have the time to go to toilet or to pass our stool or pass urination because we are too much involved in many things. We don't have the time for anything basically. So when we don't have the time to throw things out of the body, we accumulate. Psychologically also, toxins are what? Things that are in our past, what has happened. We are people who are always thinking about it, reflecting about it. So these are also toxins of the mind, right? So physical toxins, psychological toxins is what we have. So my aim here is to see that the body can let go, clean the body, detoxify the body by different techniques of Ayurveda basically. That's what we do.
And doctor, how long have you been studying Ayurveda? And have you been also studying something else apart of Ayurveda?
Okay. Ayurveda in India is taught in universities. Like Kerala is a very special place. I am not a Keralite actually. But it's a very special place to be because it is called the cradle of Ayurveda. So I studied here in Trivandrum. So you study for like 5.5 years, you get your basic degree. That's what you do. You can also do specializations for 3 years further. So in Kerala, about 40 to 50% of people use Ayurvedic medicine for their health. So you have, people do research, people do further studies about herbs. They have developed very particular techniques of treating people. They have their own way of doing things. 95% of all medicine that is originated from Kerala is herbal in nature. If you go to northern India, still there is Ayurveda, maybe 2 or 3 or 4% of whole of India use Ayurveda for their health, and in northern India they use a lot of minerals for treating people. Sri Lanka is also, there is Ayurveda, but also still local population do not use. So Kerala is the place to be basically. If you do an Ayurvedic treatment, Kerala is the place to be to do an Ayurvedic treatment because there are techniques, there are herbs that are available, they have preparations that are Kerala origin basically. Even if you think Ayurveda is like 2000 years old or maybe more.
I read 5000.
Yeah, maybe more obviously. It's not that it was an old thing and we are using it now. No, Ayurveda has been developing over a period of time. Different religions, different social developments, political developments have had an impact on Ayurveda and how it has changed over the years. So you have books that are 2000 years old, you have books that are 1000 years old, you have books that are 500 years old. So all these things have been being changed and researched over years. So at one point of time, maybe 50 or 60 years ago or 100 years ago, because of social changes, what has happened in India as such political change, Ayurveda lost its relevance at some point of time. But in Kerala, it was always relevant because we have green, we have rain, we have herbs, and that's why this place is very special for Ayurveda actually.
So doctor, what is the main difference between Ayurveda to illnesses and Western medicine to illnesses? How Ayurveda deal with that?
In Ayurveda, if you look at modern medicine, if you have a disease, you have some symptoms, treatment is symptomatic. Like if you have a symptom, we will give you medicines to reduce the symptoms. That's what we do in modern medicine. In Ayurvedic medicine, the approach is twofold basically. One is treatment is called Shodhana treatment. Second is Shamana. Shamana means the same approach as modern medicine. It means you have a disease, you give you some medicine to bring it down. Only difference is we look into not only the symptoms but as a general aspect of the body and try to correct the imbalance. So Shamana treatment is very similar to symptomatic treatment, even if it is not only symptomatic treatment. No, the second approach is what is unique in Ayurveda, the Shodhana treatment. Shodhana is to clean the body, detoxify. So that's what we do here basically. So it is to see that why the imbalances have happened, why the symptoms have appeared. It is actually very effective when there are chronic diseases. Shodhana therapy is very effective when there are chronic diseases, because there will be a landscape of symptoms. One problem leads to another, and that problem leads to another. So, landscape of symptoms. In these cases, body detoxifications are more helpful rather than trying to taking a symptomatic treatment. So, a person will have blood pressure, he will have too much of cholesterol, maybe he has diabetes, a landscape of symptoms. What happens in many people, if they are abusing the body for a long time, or because also of age. So in these cases, if you are trying to take medicines, you end up with a pile of tablets. So you are not able to sleep, then you have something to get you to sleep and so on. So in that sense, Ayurvedic treatment is helpful, because we try to look at why these things have happened. So that approach is unique in Ayurveda, where Shodhana therapy is there. Now, again, a very important aspect of Ayurvedic medicine, it is individualized treatment. This is what modern medicine is also moving nowadays towards, individual treatment. So even if you and I have the same symptoms, the medication I and you will get will be different. So it is targeted treatment, individualized. Now, if you want, I can explain it to you further, in the sense that, let us think of a depression. So, a very simple example. So somebody has depression. So I have a depression, you have a depression, right? So in modern medicine, we treat the depression with nearly the same medication. So there are antidepressives, we give them, people get better also in a certain aspect. But why the depression has happened? What are the causes of depression? How to treat the cause of the depression is not addressed. So in the case, maybe because somebody had a molestation in childhood, so he or she is depressed. Somebody lost his wife, so he or she is depressed. Somebody lost her father in the childhood, so he or she is depressed. So what we do in Ayurveda is we go to the root cause, we try to find out why it has happened and how it can be treated. So what happens, even if everybody is showing the three symptoms, all these three people, what I explained, the solution to the problem ultimately lies in something else rather than taking an antidepressant. So that is where Ayurveda is unique and different, right? So we are going into the basic fact that why the imbalances are there and how we can treat them. So that I find very unique in Ayurveda, and that's what I also like, So we try to look what personality is there, how these imbalances happen, why these imbalances happen. So a diagnosis is rather a long questionnaire actually. And so the treatment aspect is targeted treatment aspect, individualized. So that's how it works in Ayurveda if you do a Shodhana treatment.
And is there any limitation with Ayurveda, something what Ayurveda cannot heal, or you see it's more like a prevention, or is there like any age limitation with treatments?
Of course, there are limits what Ayurveda can do. One is because most of the medicines what we use are herbal in nature. They are not strong. So our limitation lies in the fact that we are not able to treat acute diseases very quickly. So this is one part, because Ayurveda emphasizes, even if it has this Shamana therapy, it emphasizes on body cleaning. So it's something that is a development issue of the body. So our philosophy is more aligned to chronic diseases. So we are not able to treat acute diseases very effectively. All said and done, we have medicines that reduce fever and everything, but some of the acute diseases we are not able to treat. But what we are very good at treating are chronic diseases. So that's where our strength lies. The other is our weakness, basically.
So, for example, can Ayurveda help people with cancer or diabetes or high blood pressure? And could you maybe a little bit specify?
Now we have to understand how Ayurveda works. Of course, we will be able to, all the diseases what you mentioned, we are able to treat. But we have to understand how a disease develops in the body. A healthy individual has a bit of imbalance. He feels a bit out of balance. Over a period of time, his body is not able to correct that because he is going on abusing the body. You have bigger imbalances. After that, symptoms appear. As the symptoms appear, body degenerates, body changes happen. As that happens, disease process starts. So where we catch a patient is where we can treat him better. Catch him in a small imbalance, we can treat him in a better way. If we catch him in a bigger imbalance, more difficult to treat. As the disease process has increased, body changes have appeared, much more difficult to treat. So that is where Ayurveda is important, because it can understand those imbalances what the body can develop. It can understand in a better way because its philosophy is aligned like that. So, for example, we can say people, a Vata person, a Vata Pitta person, for example, living in a cold country, he will end up with arthrosis. I can tell you even without looking at you. So, because my philosophy is aligned like that. A Kapha person may not have those problems or may have the problems much later than a Vata Pitta person. So, because of this philosophy, I know imbalances, I know how the body can develop. I am not saying that I will predict everything, but the body tendency will always be there to have certain diseases.
Maybe could you explain us something about Panchakarma, or is there any recommendation how often people should come to do this treatment and take it like a prevention or detox the body?
Panchakarma treatment is body cleaning. Pancha means 5 and karma means processes, 5 different processes of body cleanings, like giving purgatives, giving emetives, giving enemas, upper part of the body cleaning, and so on. So there are like different techniques to do the body cleaning. They are called Panchakarma. Everybody doesn't need to do a Panchakarma. A candidate should be an appropriate candidate for doing the Panchakarma. He should have body strength. He should be able to bear the body cleaning processes and so on. So, people who come to me, maybe 30% people do the whole cleaning part. Most people go for the body cleaning what is appropriate for them. So if we do Pitta cleanings, if we do Kapha cleaning, that's how it works, rather than trying to do the whole body cleaning. If a person is an apt person for doing a Panchakarma, we will do. Every 2 years, definitely that would be more than enough for most people. Because as I explained initially, body cleans by itself. We do not have to do anything. As a young person, body will not have so many toxins. As people get older, toxins accumulate in the body. So, every second year, doing a body cleaning process will be helpful. You can also do this process at home. You prepare your body, you clean your body. That also can be done at home by taking fasting is a body cleaning process, for example. These are, as I told you, these are body cleanings are something that you have been doing in Europe a lot. Especially in Christmas time, earlier, 20-30 years, people used to fast. Because in winter, before winter, body accumulates. You are more hungry, body accumulates. So what do you do? People used to fast in Christmas time. People used to go for walking in the mountains, churches that are in higher places. They used to go long walks. They used to meditate. So what do? You are doing you are doing not a Panchakarma, but very similar to a Panchakarma. In spring, in Easter time, people used to do that.
But it's everything mostly lost.
Yeah, lost. Unfortunately, lost. It's that's the unfortunate thing. What is happening with our social life? We are losing things. What we used to do, what was good for our health. And even if you see now, with fever, we are so afraid of having a fever. Fever is a body cleaning process. We will not be afraid of fever. Why are we afraid of fever? Because we are not able to work tomorrow. Oh, we are not able to, we don't have enough, leave. Yeah. So we are afraid of fever.
Yes.
So our social setup has changed in a way where we are not able to do these things. People initially, why all we live? We live for food, basically. Food is why I work, you work, everybody works. We don't have time to eat our food. Simple. Earlier people used to sit in front of the food. They used to, pray. It's not important, those things. But why? Because we are respecting the food we eat. The food needs respect. So if the food is respected, it will go into the body very good. It will be digested properly. We will feel good with it, right? So we are looking at our mobile, eating our food. That's what we do. It's unfortunate. We have lost those things, So that's where body cleaning is. If you are able to digest your food properly, chew it good, eat slowly. Yeah? Then your body will accept it. You will have good energy with it, right? And body will throw it out without any problems. So what is the need of panchakarma? That's what you are doing at home every day, right? So if you don't have, this is what is important, what we learn from Ayurveda, how you live, how you deal with your life situation. So it's not only about panchakarma, it's your way of life. That's what your first question was, what Ayurveda is, yes, right? Yes. The way of life, how you live, yeah, and how you go through the process of life. If you suffer through the process, if you live happily, what you can do every day to keep yourself healthy. Dinacharya, we say, we have a big chapter regarding your day-to-day activities, big chapter regarding monthly activities, change of season activities, how you have to live. So these are more important rather than the other thing. Yeah, if you do the first, you don't need the second, basically, right?
You said how important is food for us and nourish our body. So is there any recommendation about what time we should eat, how often we should eat, or what you think about intermediate fasting, for example, or maybe the whole day of fasting during the week?
So now the answer is very, very simple. One process doesn't suit for everyone. For some people, intermediate fasting is good. For some people, eating at a specific time of the day is good. Like some people, not eating, like fasting for days are good. It depends upon individuals, what their imbalance is. So let us think a person who has a lot of heaviness or weight. For him, not too early, not too late. Because they are what I call kapha times, or where the metabolism is rather not so good. Yeah, so body is not able to process everything, early morning, late evening. So you can eat 2 times. I tell people, look, you do a simple thing, a very, very simple thing. Look at your watch, eat your food. It means you eat 2 or 3 times, but look at every day same time. Your body produces acid to digest food. At least that acid production is regulated. We'll feel good with it. So a regularity is achieved. We have a biorhythm outside us. Our body should go with the biorhythm. That's how it works basically. Yeah? So every day same time sleep, every day same time wake up. It's a bit boring, right? But it's important for the body.
So how many hours we have to sleep during the night?
Like for example, kapha people, they need a lot of sleep. Vata people don't need so much of sleep. Pitta people are people who are active in the midnight, for example, or in the evening people, they work in the evening. So you see, as we go on with this, individuals are important. For these individuals, we have to develop processes, or there are developed processes which we have to apply. That would be rather the correct answer. On an individual basis. So if I have a kapha person, I say you should sleep only 7 hours a day. He would say, oh, it's not enough for me, and he will go crazy. And if I say vata person, you see, you to sleep 10 hours a day, he will not be able to do that. All said and done, if he is in a balance. So that is not, that's not going to work. So, and sunset and sunrise, it's very interesting because, in Europe in winter, sunset and sunrise, yeah. So applying that is not important. Important is looking at individual and applying what is good for him or not, right?
Would you recommend different type of activities and also different type of yoga depend of your dosha type? Like for example, kapha people, they should do more active yoga practice and more exercises.
It all depends upon, if you have a vata nature, pitta nature, kapha nature, it doesn't matter. Because it's your nature, it's what you are, very good. But if you have imbalances, what we have to look is not what our nature is, but what our imbalance is. If we have too much of kapha, too much of heaviness, it would be better to exercise or do yoga. That is more fast in nature, right? If you have imbalances of vata, to do slower, so that vata comes down. So it depends upon what your imbalance is basically.
But I heard you travel a lot, you are going in Europe. Maybe could you tell us when and where people can reach you, here in India or in Europe, in which countries as well?
I mean, I travel to Austria, I travel to Germany, to Munich, Austria, in Klagenfurt, in Steiermark actually. I work or I go to Mallorca. Of course to Dresden. I have to think. So these are the places I go. Usually May I'm in Munich and June in Klagenfurt. And so I travel, I keep on traveling, changing place. Yeah, also in Prague.
Oh,
I
Czech
work
Republic.
in Czech Republic, yeah. In Brno actually. Brno, I think.
Yes,
Yeah,
Brno.
Yeah, so I travel a lot, yeah.
And people then can enjoy the personal consultations with you.
That's what I do. I do consultation.
And how they can contact you?
www.Dr.Kiran Bhatt, doctor means DRKIRAN BHAT Bhatt.com. Yeah, so that's the website. You just have to look into the website.
Thank you for your time, and I wish you a lot of success with your Arya Ayurvedic Center in Kovalam.
Thank you very much. Take care and be healthy, right?
Thank you, and namaste from India.